So today we begin the most exciting part of a restoration project, shining it up. Now, we're gonna skip a lot of steps. There's a bunch of other things you should do before you start making it look pretty. That's, making it sound, fixing brakes, fixing headlights, maybe doing some other things that you probably should do before you start concerning yourself with how it looks. But we're gonna do things backwards here. We've got a car show coming up here soon, and we're gonna replace the brakes here eventually, but I'm itching to see what this thing will look like. I've kind of already started right here, and I was like, no, you need to be patient. Don't be selfish now. Share it with everyone else. And so that is what I'm here to do. I'm going to bring back this faded out paint to its 1964 glory. Now, 61 years ago, this truck came into our existence. And for 23 of those years, it sat in the backyard. So for 23 years, this truck just sat there, waiting, wishing for this exact moment. I don't think this thing has been waxed or buffed in 61 years. So this is kind of a historical event, if you think about it. There's not a lot of rust on this truck. I mean, at face value, yeah, it is rusty. It's got a lot of that flash rust. Now, I did toy with painting it, but I don't know. This paint here is almost making it worth it. So we're gonna go ahead and give it a look. We're just gonna look at it. Would you just look at it? Because it's gonna look amazing. I can't wait. Let's go ahead and get started. So the first place we're going to start out is right here where the grille goes. Since we've got the grille removed from when we were replacing some pieces to make the headlights adjustable, I figured this was no better spot to start. That way we can get this cleaned up and get that grille back in here. There's a few things that I'm going to be doing to that grille, but you won't see that until after I put it in. But what we're going to be cleaning is this. There's a lot of, even just that right there took it off, but there's just old filth. I mean, 61 years, is that what I said? 61 years of it sitting, 1964 to 2025. I think that's 61 years. 61 years, we'll go with that, of just grime, road grime, alone and sitting. I mean, there's all kinds of, this thing was used on a ranch, by the way. I think I need to cover that. That way, you're wondering why a bale of hay drops out of the frame. That's why. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just start. Oh, I am using a Scotch-Brite pad, kind of. It's not Scotch-Brite. It's, the back of your sink sponge, that blue, rough blue stuff. I'm using basically the same stuff as that because it doesn't scratch. So it's like stainless steel stuff. So you can just sit there and kind of rub it on your paint, but it's not going to scratch it. I'm sure if you pressed hard enough, it would scratch it. But just like that, it took away, and I suppose it's going to remove some, but this thing's got a whole ton of oxidization. So whatever paint comes off, that little bit of a white tinge there, that is probably just oxidized paint that's going to come off anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and do this super fast. Okay, I'm not speeding up the video. I'm just that quick. Okay, so now that I've gone through and I've kind of cleaned up the paint that we've got here, getting a lot of that grime off of it, we don't need this anymore. Now we're gonna go ahead and move on to wire wool. And so, man, you know what I mean? Something about rolling chairs. Now we're gonna go ahead and start using this wire wool. Now I suggest you wear gloves with wire wool. Just, it's metal. Now, it's already starting to shine just from using this, and this wire wool here should do much better than this stuff. And I also have this wet, so it's kind of almost like wet sanding, but not quite. So let's go ahead and speed through this. So already, just from the little bit we've done, this is what is underneath. You can kind of already starting to see it shine. There's still a lot more work to do, but I think we've got a good start. So now that we've got this all clean, you can kind of see it's already starting to get a nice shine to it just from cleaning it up. So that's removing any oxidized paint, the rust, grime, road grime. I think there was some road grime right here where it kind of gets collected underneath the grill behind the headlights. That's gone now. There was some oxidized clear coat that was able to come off that made this front end look a lot cleaner. I even did some work up here on this front end, so there's not quite as much rust. It kind of looks like I may need to go over it again, kind of in these little areas here, the nostrils. And then I also took that same wire wool over the chrome bezels for the blinkers or the running lights. And I mean, I could probably do it a couple more times and it would shine right on up. The other thing I started toying with was removing the paint on this top of the radiator. So the top of these radiators are copper, brass, pretty sure it's copper. And I thought it might be cool to take all the black off, shine up the copper, like you would do to like a trumpet or something, a penny, nice shiny penny or whatever, and do that to this here because why not? It would look cool. We'll play with that as we move forward. I also went ahead and scrubbed this section down right here. I know it kind of doesn't look it, but we're going to be buffing that with the compounds and then the wax, just like how we're going to be doing this whole front end here. So now that we've got that done, we need to do that same thing to the grill. Now the grill has been washed, so we won't have to worry about grime or anything, but it has a lot of rust and it's sitting over there on the bench, and we'll go ahead and take a look at that in a second. But the other thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to do the same process that we've done here, or we're doing to the grill, to the bumper. But I've done a little bit here and there, but I don't think we're going to get much color back from the bumper. It's kind of just cleaning it up. So let's go ahead and move on to the grill. So here's what we've got for the grill. Now I have washed it just with soap and water, but I haven't done anything to take the rust off like what we just got done doing on the truck. So we're going to do the same process to this, removing the flash rust, especially down there on the bottom, right up here in this channel here, and on this top section. We're also going to be cleaning up these that go around the headlights, as well as the chrome on the headlights. Then we'll go ahead and reassemble the entire front end. There's something I'm going to change to this. I'm not going to change the patina. We want to save that, but there is something I want to add that's just going to make it pop even more. But you will have to wait for that when we get it on the truck. So let's go ahead, get the scouring pad back out, get the wire wool back out, and start cleaning. All right, so here's what we've got after a little bit of scrubbing. Still got a little bit more to do, like right here, but I mean, that's a good comparison between what was and what is. Here's the bottom end of it now. You can see there's still a little bit there that needs to be removed. And then over here, that is the bucket of all of the grime that's come off of this so far. It's nice and smooth already and getting a shine, just like what happened with the truck. And we're still able to keep a lot of the patina. So we gotta get a little bit of here, a little bit here, and looks like a little bit more over here. So I think we're looking pretty darn good though. Now that the grill has been cleaned and reassembled, we can go ahead and reinstall it in the truck. But before I do that, I want to go through and polish the paint that's right here. This is all kind of hidden by the grill, so it's really hard to get to, but we don't want to just not polish it, right? We want to know what it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and just do this by hand because there's no way I'm fitting the buffing wheel into these tight spaces like this. So it's just easier to do it by hand, and plus it's good practice. So let's go ahead and start polishing this paint. So what I'm going to start with here first is I'm going to put some of this on the rag. And if that looks like a lot of compound, that's because it is. But we're going to do something with it. We're going to go ahead and dab it all the way across, just like you would do if you were using a buffing wheel. That way we can get it nicely moved around. Go ahead and get it all the way up there as far as we can get. Get it on the corner. We'll only go up to a certain point, that way we can have a comparison. So now, go ahead and start working it into the paint. Now, what this is doing is it is removing the old layer of paint. So the compound is a little bit abrasive, so it's like sandpaper, really fine sandpaper that starts polishing the paint by removing the old oxidized sun bleached layer, but also shines it up. So yeah, see, it's kind of discolored there, turning my orange rag green. That's because we're removing just a very small amount of paint to get it to shine up. Now, it's not gonna, I mean, if you were to get a buffing wheel and sit there for a while on one spot, it would eventually eat through your paint, and you don't want that. And I will also trade off with my rags. So this rag right here is my application rag, and then I kind of use it to scrub. But then I also have another rag that I use to repolish. Now, this one's stained. I promise it's clean. But it's pretty stained. But in this clean one, you'll see how dirty it'll get here in a second. Now, you definitely have to give it some elbow grease. Like, gotta be pushing on it a little bit. Friction helps. Yeah, so we got a little bit more of residue off. But let's go ahead and get in closer, and I'll show you how it looks now. So after only just a little bit of elbow grease, we've got a pretty good shine starting. Now over here, you can see the faded out, what it was. That glare there, that's not very shiny. It's not reflecting at all. But come over here, look at that. So I'm gonna sit here and just go to town on this section here. So enjoy the music. So here's what it looks like now after just a little bit of hand polishing. It's got a nice shine all the way across. And in this section here where it was that matte shine, you can see how shiny it is now. So now that we've got a good shine starting right here, just by hand buffing, I'm gonna go ahead and get the power wheel and start going across it, just like you would do by hand, but this time we'll have the electronic assistance. Now I won't be able to use that down here just because it's too small of a space. I'm not gonna be able to get the machine in there, but we can use it up here, and I'm really curious to see how much better it's going to work. I know it's gonna work better because this just takes time, but how much shinier is it going to get? That's the question. All right, so here is what we have. So this over here is where I was only hand polishing up to this point. Do you see the difference already right there? How much more light this is reflecting as opposed to light this is reflecting. Now obviously there's a little bit difference in how much paint's over here and how much paint's over there, but looking across this is the hand buff side. That's the shine we've got. And using the power tools, look at that alone. Wow. So that right there is the difference between hand buffing for a short period of time and power buffing after hand buffing for a short period of time. Now, it's going to be different depending on what kind of things you're using, but this is going to look really great. So let's continue. So the most intricate section of this Chevy paint restoration is now complete, that being the grille. So not only did we have to take the grille off to polish some paint behind it, but we also had some work to do to the grille itself, such as getting the headlights to work again, replacing some of the headlight adjustment screws, and painting Chevrolet in bright white color. That way, just in case you didn't already know, and the people driving by didn't already know, this is a Chevy. And we want to make sure we're loud and proud with that. The other thing that we're going to do in the next video is we're going to polish the hood, the sides of the truck, and figure out what we're going to do with that top. That top might need to get painted because there's not a lot of paint left on it. It's more rust than it is anything, and it's not just the flash rust. It's a little bit more than just flash rust. There's some Bondo up there. Unknown story. We'll figure it out as we go. The other thing I want to do, possibly, is match the Chevrolet on the tailgate to the Chevrolet on the grille. Let me know what you think about that in the comments, but I think we're going to wrap up this video right here. We've got a lot of work to be done on this truck. Interior work, replacing the bed, engine work, transmission, running gear, brakes, tires. You know, there's all kinds of stuff that still needs to get done to this truck, but we're going to keep on plugging away on it here and there. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me here at the garage today. Be sure you like and subscribe, turn on that notification bell so you can be updated when more videos like this come out. And I'll see you right back here at the garage in the next video.